Okay, welcome to episode 3 of Game of Sheds. A little winded. I just unloaded about $300 worth of lumber for my trailer. That's a good bit, but it's not a whole lot, believe it or not. Got all my porch materials and, a ton of about 35 more 2x4s. Before I begin today, though, I need to talk about an issue that affects most of us. It can be serious at times, and other days it's just more of an annoyance. Brainus interruptus. Lack of brain activity and or matter. Some days you just wake up with it. Today's one of those days. Which kind of sucks, because I got a lot to do. Got a lot of jobs waiting for me, and I got to get this shed done in order to make it profitable, time-wise. But it's just like a big old dust storm, like one of those big Arizona dust storms in my head. You know what they call them? Boobaloos or haboobs. Some people call it haboobs. My relatives call it haboobs. I don't know why. It's kind of funny, actually, when you think about it. Anyway, I got a big old haboob going around in my head today, so I can't really extrapolate any logical thought, which is difficult for me today because I need to start working on the roof trusses. And I've watched probably a dozen videos on YouTube. I've read some books, I've looked at some blueprints and plans, and for the life of me, I can't figure that shit out, man. And I'm good at math, and I'm good at geometry, and how do you figure out the angles for all this stuff? They don't really tell you anything. They just say measure this and cut that, and there's your angle, and here's your pitch and your slope, and get out your little square and swivel it, and there you go, and make a cut and put them all together and do this and do that. And I'm just dumbfounded by it. But I will figure it out in my own way, and when I do, I will share the information with you. It's going to be very simple, very backwoods sort of way, and maybe the picture will clear up once I get one built. That's going to be my task for today, which is going to be even more difficult because the brain doesn't want to work. But the weather is really nice. It is going to start raining again, to the shock and awe of everyone here in North Carolina. Rain? Really? So, I'll get to it and see how far I can get. I don't think it's going to be far. So, stay tuned, and I'll update soon. Okay. I figured it out. It took me about an hour. No, I don't think it took me that long. Maybe 30-40 minutes. But it wasn't that hard using my technique. Let me show you what I did. This is tricky when I can't see the screen. Let's see. First thing I did was lay down this 8-foot 2x4, which is the exact span, the exact width of the shed. 8 foot. I put down a 10-foot board over here to make it level, with that. I put a little spacer down here. I pretty much, I had to have everything level because I didn't have a flat surface to work with. So then I cut the centerpiece, which I knew the peak of my roof is going to be 3 foot. And I just realized I made a mistake. I'll tell you what I did. And it's okay. No, it really isn't. I cut the centerpiece here to exactly 3 foot. From here to the very point up there. I made a mark in the center of that, and then I took this board here and laid it down so that it laid right onto the corner of this 8-foot board, and it laid right on the center point of the center board. This is called a king truss, by the way. But what I realize is, while that center board is exactly 36 inches, I just added 3.5 inches to the top, so now we're looking at 39.5 inches for for the total dimension of the peak, and that's not what I want. So let's see here. See, this is, it's trial and error. Yeah. And I realize this is all backwards, but it's at about 44 inches, so. Now, because I'm not following a set plan, I could leave it at 44 inches. It's not a big deal. It gives me a little more room for storage up at the top, which is something that she wants. 36 inches from the top of the wall to the peak, that's not a whole lot. You can't fit a whole lot in there. So you know what? Because I've already got it cut and made, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it at that, 44 inches to the peak. Yeah, you know why? Because I can. This whole thing is custom built. So, as far as I know, there aren't any regulations or rules on the pitch of a roof. Well, there are. I mean, if you're in a heavy snow load part of the region, like up in Michigan or Boston, you want a steeper pitch so that that snow and water melts right off the roof. It doesn't sit there for a long time and get underneath your shingles and your tar paper and cause rot. Down here we don't have a snow load problem, but rain, not usually as much as we have been getting, but here in the south it's not a big deal. So a more shallower pitch works. It's okay. I'm going to leave it because I've already done the work. It works out nicely. It looks good. Now the next step that I have to do now is add some strength at my corners and joints. So here, up there at the peak, down here, where am I at? See, right there, and then over there. What most people do is they take some plywood and they cut a shape that matches, pattern up there, glue it, nail it into place, and that gives you some stronger support for your roof, stronger support for the truss itself. They do make metal joining plates that you can buy, but I haven't found any. I'm going to look though, because the less cutting I have to do, measuring angles and shit like that, man, the happier I am. I actually should have bought some pre-built trusses, but I not really, I did a little looking around. I couldn't seem to find any, so it is what it is. The best part of this is I have my pattern now. So I've got one truss built. Now I can, I've got all my angles written down for my cuts. I've got all my measurements. Now I just have to build 5 more and I'm done. That takes a huge weight off, because I was really dreading getting into this and making a whole lot of mistakes and wasting a lot of wood, time, and money. So, I'm happy with the result. And there you go. That's how I do it. You can watch other videos, and they're going to do completely different, but they really won't explain how they get the angles. And if you understand it more than I do, more power to you. Anyway, So now that I got that done, oh, and I did add this extra foot onto the front of the porch. So now we have a 4-foot porch. So still hasn't rained. It's you know, it's good. I mean, I'm glad it hasn't. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and build the rest of my trusses, and those will be done. I bought all that lumber today, but I bought no fasteners. I need to go buy some more nails, and I need to buy some through bolts for the 3 4x4s I've got going on the front of this porch. It's going to support the roof. The porch is going to have its own roof. The utility closet is going to have its own roof. I am just insane for thinking that this was a good idea. But hey, give the customer what they want, you know? So, anyway, that's it for now. Let me get a building, and maybe I'll come back, or maybe next time we'll start part 4. All right, thanks.